Let me ask you something personal. Is there a version of you that only comes out when no one's watching? A part of you that gets angry when you think you shouldn't? That wants things you've convinced yourself you're not supposed to want? That feels things you'd be embarrassed to admit out loud? Yeah, me too. And here's the thing. Most of us spend our entire lives trying to kill that part. We bury it. We shame it. We pretend it doesn't exist. We put on our best face, walk out the door, and hope nobody notices what's going on underneath. But what if that was the single biggest mistake you could make? What if the very part of yourself you've been running from, the jealousy, the rage, the insecurity, the weird dreams, the secret desires, what if that part wasn't your problem, but your purpose? That's what we're going to dig into today. And I'm warning you up front. This is going to get personal. It might get uncomfortable. But I promise you, if you stay with me through this, you'll walk away seeing yourself in a completely different way. We're talking about Carl Jung's theory of the shadow, one of the most profound and practical ideas in the history of psychology. And by the end of this, you won't just understand it. You'll know exactly what to do with it. Let's get into it. Carl Jung was a Swiss psychiatrist who lived from 1875 to 1961. He was originally a close student of Sigmund Freud, but the two eventually split because Jung's ideas went somewhere much bigger, much deeper than Freud was willing to go. Jung believed that the human psyche isn't just the conscious mind, the thoughts, the decisions, the things we're aware of day to day. He believed there's a whole other layer operating below the surface. He called it the unconscious, and within that unconscious lives what he called the shadow. So what exactly is the shadow? In the simplest terms, the shadow is everything you've decided you're not. Here's how it forms. From the moment you're born, the world starts teaching you what's acceptable and what isn't. Your parents, your teachers, your church, your culture, they all send signals. This is good. That is bad. This is normal. That is weird. This makes people love you. That makes people pull away. And being a smart, survival-oriented human being, you adapt. You take the parts of yourself that get rewarded, and you put them front and center. And the parts that get punished, you shove them in the back, way in the back, in a dark corner, and you lock the door. Jung called that locked room the shadow. Now here's where it gets interesting. The stuff in the shadow isn't just the bad stuff. It's not just your anger or your selfishness or your jealousy, though those are in there. The shadow also holds things like your creativity, your ambition, your sexuality, your desire for attention, your need for freedom, things that maybe got shamed out of you when you were young. Think about that. The things that got punished in your childhood didn't disappear. They went underground, and they've been living there ever since, waiting. Jung put it this way: in each of us there is another whom we do not know. That other, that stranger, living inside you, that's the shadow. And the more you try to pretend it isn't there, the more power it has over you. Here's a metaphor that really hit me when I first came across it. Imagine you're at the pool, and you've got a beach ball, and for whatever reason, you need that beach ball to stay underwater. So you push it down, and you hold it down, and you work to keep it down. For a while, it works. But the moment you loosen your grip, even for a second, that ball explodes back up to the surface with way more force than if you just let it float. That's your shadow. The more energy you spend suppressing it, the more violently it resurfaces, usually at the worst possible moments. The road rage that comes out of nowhere. The meltdown over something that shouldn't bother you. The sabotage of a relationship that was actually going well. The addiction that crept up when life got too comfortable. The depression that settled in when everything looked fine on the outside. That's not weakness. That's your shadow demanding to be acknowledged. Jung called this process projection, and it might be the most eye-opening idea in all of psychology. When we don't own our shadow, we project it outward. We see our unacknowledged traits in other people, and we react to them with intensity. that seems way out of proportion to the situation. Let me give you a real-world example. Have you ever met someone who irritated you instantly, before they even did anything wrong? Like, they walked into the room, and something about them just rubbed you the wrong way. According to Jung, that's a projection. That person is showing you something about yourself that you haven't come to terms with yet. Maybe they're super confident and loud, and that bugs you, because deep down, you want to take up more space, but you've told yourself that's arrogant. Maybe they seem carefree and irresponsible, and it drives you crazy, because you've sacrificed your own spontaneity to be responsible, and a part of you resents it. Maybe they're successful in a way that triggers you, because their success reminds you of a dream you abandoned. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Read that again, because that's not just a psychological insight, that's a practical life tool. Every time you feel strong irritation, judgment, or even envy towards someone else, you're being handed a clue about your own shadow. Not to be harsh on yourself, not to collapse in shame, just to get curious. What is this reaction telling me about me? Now here's the part that blew my mind when I first really sat with it. Your shadow isn't just a collection of your wounds and your weaknesses. It's also the hiding place of your greatest gifts. Let me repeat that. The hiding place of your greatest gifts. Think about the things you were told to tone down when you were growing up. The kid who was too sensitive. Maybe they became an artist, a therapist, a writer. The girl who was too bossy. Maybe she became a CEO or an activist. The boy who was too emotional, maybe. If he'd been given room to develop that, he'd be a leader who actually connects with people. Our culture suppresses what it doesn't know how to handle, and the things it suppresses in you are often the exact things the world needs from you. Jung believed that what he called individuation, the process of becoming your whole, authentic self, was the deepest purpose of human life. Not happiness, not success, not even love. Exactly. Wholeness. Becoming fully, completely, unapologetically yourself. And you cannot do that while half of you is locked in a dark room. Here's how this shows up in real life. Think about someone who has spent years suppressing deep anger. Maybe anger about injustice, about being treated unfairly, about watching others get hurt. If that anger stays in the shadow, it comes out sideways. It shows up as passive aggression, bitterness, resentment, maybe even health problems. The body keeps score. But what happens when that person integrates that anger? When they own it, understand where it comes from, and channel it consciously. You get Martin Luther King Jr. You get someone whose righteous anger becomes the fuel for changing the world. Think about someone who has always been told they're too much, too loud, too ambitious, too dramatic. If that energy stays suppressed, it might come out as self-destruction, as showing off at the wrong moments, as constant attention-seeking that never quite fills the hole. But what if they integrated it? What if they owned the bigness and channeled it? You get Frida Kahlo. You get work that's raw and honest and lasting because it doesn't flinch from anything. Your shadow, when integrated, doesn't destroy you. It defines you. Jung put it plainly. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who your parents wanted you to be, not who your culture approved of. You. The whole you. You. Okay. So we've talked about what the shadow is, why it matters, and why it holds the key to your purpose. Now let's get practical, because insight without action is just entertainment. Here are the actual tools for doing shadow work. Tool 1. Follow the trigger. I already mentioned this, but I want to go deeper. Your emotional triggers are your map. The next time you feel a disproportionately strong reaction, anger, disgust, envy, even excessive admiration, pause. Don't act on it immediately. Just notice it, and then ask yourself honestly, what is this reaction telling me about me? Not about the other person, about you. This takes practice. Our first instinct is always to focus outward. They did this. They said that. They're the problem. Shadow work requires you to flip the lens. Every strong reaction is an invitation to look inward. Start keeping a trigger journal. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just write down the moment, the feeling, and then your honest attempt to connect it back to yourself. You will be amazed what starts to surface. Tool 2. Dialogue with your shadow. This one sounds a little out there, but stick with me. Jung often encouraged his patients to engage with the shadow, as if it were a separate person, to give it a voice, to let it speak. Here's a simple way to do this in writing. Take a piece of paper and write down a part of yourself you struggle with. Maybe it's your anger. Maybe it's your laziness. Maybe it's a deep fear of being seen. Then, and this is the key, write a letter to that part of yourself. Not to attack it, not to defend yourself from it, just to ask it questions. Something like, what are you trying to protect me from? What do you need from me in order to feel safe? What were you trying to do for me when you first showed up? Then switch. Write the shadow's response. Just let it flow without censoring. I know this sounds weird, but what you're doing is giving unconscious material a chance to become conscious. You're shining a light in a room that's been dark for a long time, and what's in there almost never turns out to be as monstrous as you feared. Tool 3. Pay attention to your dreams. Jung was obsessed with dreams because he believed they were the most direct communication from the unconscious mind. He kept detailed dream journals his entire life. You don't have to become a dream expert, but start paying attention. When a dream is vivid or unsettling or keeps repeating, that's worth noticing. Ask yourself, who were the characters in this dream? What were they doing? And here's the key Jungian question. What part of me might each character represent? In dreams, the shadow often appears as a dark figure, a threatening animal, or a person of the same sex who does things you'd never do consciously. It's your unconscious trying to get your attention. You don't have to interpret it perfectly. Just stay curious. Tool 4. Look at your relationships. This one might be the most uncomfortable. Jung believed that our closest relationships, especially the ones that create the most conflict, are mirrors. They reflect the parts of ourselves we haven't integrated. If you keep attracting the same type of partner who disappoints you in the same way, that's shadow material. If you keep clashing with a specific type of person at work, that's shadow material. If there's a recurring dynamic in your friendships that always seems to blow up the same way, shadow material. Instead of asking, why does this keep happening to me? Try asking, what part of me is creating this pattern? That shift in perspective is everything. Tool 5. Create. Jung believed deeply in creativity as a pathway into the unconscious. Art, writing, music, movement. These are ways of giving the shadow a voice without words. Many of the greatest creative works in human history are acts of shadow integration. The artist goes into the dark and brings something back for all of us. You don't have to be an artist to use this tool. Journal, doodle, dance alone in your kitchen. Make something with your hands. Let something ugly, or messy, or raw come out in a safe space. That's shadow work too. I want to close with something that Jung believed deeply and that I think about a lot. Shadow work isn't just self-help. It's not just about you feeling better, or becoming more successful, or having healthier relationships, though all of that happens. Shadow work is, at its core, an act of service to the world. Here's why. When we don't do this work, when we leave our shadow unconscious and unexamined, we project it outward. We project it onto other people, onto groups, onto nations, onto the enemy, whoever that happens to be. The things we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves, we demonize in others. And if you look around at the state of the world right now, the polarization, the hatred, the way people talk past each other, the way entire groups become scapegoats, and you're watching collective shadow projection on a massive scale. The antidote to that isn't political. It isn't structural, at least not primarily. It's internal. It starts with individuals willing to look honestly at their own darkness and say, "This is mine. I own this. I'm going to understand it instead of throw it at someone else." Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That's not a call to wallow in darkness. It's a call to be honest, to be brave enough to look at yourself fully, not just the highlights reel you post online, not just the version of yourself you're proud of, but the whole thing, the mess, the contradictions, the parts that don't fit the story you tell about who you are. Because here's what happens when you do that work. You stop being at war with yourself. And a person who isn't at war with themselves doesn't need to start wars with other people. That quiet, internal peace radiates. It changes how you show up in conversations, in relationships, in your community. People feel it when they're around someone who's done this work. There's a groundedness, a compassion, an absence of ego fragility that is genuinely rare and genuinely magnetic. You become someone who can hold space for other people's complexity because you've learned to hold space for your own. So where do you start? You don't have to overhaul your entire life today. You don't have to go into therapy tomorrow. Though honestly, shadow work with a good therapist can be transformative, and I'd never talk you out of it. But you can start with one question, just one. Tonight or tomorrow morning, sit with this. What is the part of myself that I work hardest to hide from other people or from myself? And what might it be trying to tell me? Just let that question breathe. Don't force an answer. Write whatever comes up. Be honest. Be gentle with yourself. And be curious. Because that's all shadow work really is at its heart. Curiosity about yourself. Willingness to look. Courage to stay in the room, even when it gets uncomfortable. You are not just the person you've shown the world. You are so much more than that. And the parts of you that you've hidden, suppressed, and shamed, they are not your enemy. They are part of your story, part of your strength, part of what makes you irreplaceable. Jung believed that the ultimate goal of human life is not perfection. It's wholeness. Not becoming someone without shadows, but becoming someone who has learned to walk with theirs. I believe that too. And I believe that the moment you stop fighting yourself, the moment you turn around and face what's been following you, everything changes. The journey inward is the most important journey you'll ever take. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one.